Are you feeling okay on the higher foods?
Hey?
Are you feeling okay on the higher foods today?
Oh gosh, I was so full.
Good.
I know it was only 75 grams of bread, but
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, but it's...
I remembered how it was. Still full.
Yeah, that's really nice. Let those forearms just come in up. I just think that you shrug your shoulders up a little bit too much. That's better. And now let them sit in a little bit more. There we go. That's better. I know that you'll think, oh, I don't look as big, but you now have a figure look rather than trying to look like women's bodybuilding. Okay, let's quarter turn. Try and stick the hip back a little bit. That's better. More. Lovely. It makes your leg look loads thicker. Perfect. This arm here, just bring, yeah, there we go. Thank you. Quarter turn to the back. Always keep the glutes lifted when you turn to the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then just drop them forearms towards your body a little bit more. We need to start being able to get that pop through the lats and the upper back without having those arms that wide. That leg's come a little bit too far forwards. Bring it back a little bit, then stick the hips back and the chest nice and tall. Yeah, that's lovely. This side was almost a little bit less strong, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's now quite strong. Lovely. Just give a little bit of, yeah, that's better. And then present to me. That's better. Lovely. So much bigger. Them legs are literally nearly double in size compared to last year. Them coming up's just made you way more balanced, which is lovely.
Yeah, I feel like legs, yeah, definitely.
Let's do your front shot again. And your back shot. Nice. Just stick those hips back a little bit. Lovely. Right, so every morning, every diet break, I want your body weight, please, if that's okay. Yeah, I would just like to keep an eye on it, because if your body weight starts coming down, we might need a little bit more food. Because we don't want it to come down this week.
Okay.
It's kind of being a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
If not a tiny little bit of a rise,
Okay.
is what I want this week.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, welcome to the kitchen. No, welcome back YouTube. I haven't done a video for a while, a proper little video, doing like vlogs and stuff, so it'll be nice to do a video. We're going to train legs today, which will be lovely. You're going to see a nice little bit of a day in the life sort of, plus a session, which will be nice for you, because obviously usually you just either see a session or all the meals. So having a little bit of a mix will be lovely. Obviously I've just had Agnes in for some posing and also having a little look at where she is from a body composition perspective. She is currently 11 weeks out from the first show of the season, and then 13 weeks out from her first pro qualifier of the season. It should be a good year. She's put on a little bit of tissue where we needed it. It's just now about getting lean and savouring all that tissue just by taking our time. She's currently on a deload and diet break, definitely needed. She was showing real signs of fatigue. When your fatigue is running super high, you will struggle then to be able to see your body progress in terms of changing. And as much as her body weight did move this week, she also looked a little bit more watery, like there was a film over her, because she was looking fatigued, and that was kind of building up. She was doing her sessions and she was getting that kind of weaker, dizzier feel. And when you get to that point, especially in a comp prep, you just start to not, it's kind of almost like negative returns, isn't it? So taking those resets throughout your competition prep, when you do give yourself enough time, will always bring to a better look at the end when it comes to stage time. And we've always found that works really well for her. Currently we are still running an off-plan meal. She has a young family. She is a family mum. We are still a family mum, a family lady. So I wanted her to still be able to enjoy that part of her life as well as bodybuilding. So we have almost like an off-plan meal at the weekend, but it is macro tracked because she is able to get that from her local sushi place that are willing to weigh her stuff for her, which is really nice. So it's worked really well. We are going to pull that out from this weekend. This is going to be the last one, just because we want to be able to see things move really well. And you do get to a point in a prep, for the most part, if you are someone who's really serious about bodybuilding, that's like, yeah, I don't want to have the off-plan meals and I just want to be able to suffer. So that's what we're going to do from this weekend. It's always nice to see her. I've been coaching her for a very long time. Her goal is to turn pro. It is possible. You never know who's going to turn up on the day. You never know who's going to be judging and what opinions they're going to have. But you can bring the best version of you for the class that you're trying to do. She has muscle bellies perfect for figure. She has a shape perfect for figure. Her physique is really lovely. just want to get it nice and lean, and when she gets up on stage she would have every possible chance of being able to achieve her goal. But again, like I say, when it comes to the judging side of things, you never know. You're not that person. You don't know what other people are going to look like. You don't know how you're going to stand in that lineup. Like, it's just, there's so many different factors that come into winning or coming second or whatnot. And also for Agnes, she needs to make sure that her posing's very classy and flowy rather than stern, because sometimes she's a little bit that way. So she asks me to help her, and I'm always here for her and any of my other clients to be able to do that. So going to be a good few weeks, busiest time of the season in terms of competitors, but also I start my prep for my Olympia. Well, not that it's really stopped, but I start dieting in like 2 weeks. And then also we have a very busy July because we have the MK team meet next weekend on the 13th of July. We have the MK, what's it called? Show Day, the weekend after, which is the 20th, if I've just done my maths right. And then the 27th, we also have a posing seminar, which we've linked up with the posing pro, Emma Heinman. She is a really great posing coach and obviously has so much experience, been competing for, well, was competing for a lot longer before I started, and she was probably one of the people that knew about posing when I even began, so obviously even now it's further experience. So really looking forward to it. It'll be a really great day, I'm sure of it. And it's always nice for, even if the people that come as part of our team have a different posing coach, it's always nice to get someone else's opinion sometimes, and maybe just use it to be able to create your own personality when it comes to posing, because it's great to have a posing coach, but it's also good to have your own personality within your posing. Otherwise everybody just looks the same, and not everybody has the same flow, not everybody has the same personality, not everybody look the best doing it that way. You've got to create your own personality within your own posing, and I think it's nice to be able to have the experience with someone that's as experienced as Emma. So today's leg day. That means that I eat a little bit more food on a leg day because I do, it's carb cycling really, isn't it? So obviously I have lower foods on a rest day, medium level foods on a upper body day, and then higher foods on a leg day slash pull day, because obviously I do legs and back on my pull days. But today's legs, so I've had for my first meal, so I've had 2 eggs, 225 grams of egg whites, 200 grams of sourdough bread, 100 grams of blueberries, 50 grams of veg. I think that was everything. My second meal was 125 grams of a mix of sockeye wild salmon and venison with 50 grams of rice, 100 grams of veg, 100 grams of pineapple, and then we will be on to our pre-workout meal in about an hour. I don't know what time it is, an hour and 20, that will obviously get all filmed for you so that you can have a little look at that as well. That is the plan of attack. Hopefully you enjoyed watching Aggie. She looks really great, and we'll get on with the rest of the day. Just make sure with this one, as you do drive the elbows, that we don't let the shoulder blades pull back. For rear delts, if you let the shoulder blades pull back, it'll just work a lot more of your upper back slash traps. And obviously we don't want that to happen. We want to be able to use as much rear delt as we possibly can. Right. Settle. This is weight block. This is weight block 3. The first weight block is always set to check-ins. I always aim to get all of my check-ins done for my clients with that first work time. And that's why we have a client check-in the night before, because obviously a lot of my clients and Kuba's clients are competitors. I think it's important that if they have or they need to change something to their meal plan, their steps, their cardio, that they can do it as soon as possible. And that's why you have a check-in. That's why you have 7 days from one check-in to the next, and then you can make those changes when you need to. If your reply comes in nice and early, it just means that you can get to those changes ASAP. Maybe some people might not be able to make food changes because if they've gone to work and stuff already, but for the most part, especially if it's expenditure and stuff, people can get to it straight away. But yeah, this is my third work block. First work block is obviously check-ins. Second work block is usually kind of for replies, or when people reply to me after a check-in, then replying back if it's obviously needed. And the third one is usually catching up with extra form clips that either come in that morning or maybe even the night before as well. I've got a few newer clients at the minute with training. So IFU Pros, a women's bodybuilder from America, which is actually quite nice and different because I don't have a lot of kind of females past figure. I've got a couple of ladies that do women's physique, but for the most part it's just going as figure. So it's nice to have that little bit of a change up in the female bodybuilding class. It's just big girls, so it's nice to be able to see the changes that have happened to her body so quickly, just from making some slight adjustments, because obviously she's got a very responsive body. She applies things as soon as you say it, because when you're a little bit more experienced and obviously you get a little bit further and further up into your journey, your ability to be able to make changes very quickly when someone's giving you some feedback, you definitely can apply yourself just a little bit better. Then I've got a couple of girls and a guy who started with either men's physique or bikini training as well. Either people that are close to winning their pro card / are pros. So it's nice to also give a little bit back to them with their training too. So it's nice to see.
Right, so next pre-workout meal. Today is leg day, I believe. So she does have a little bit more carbohydrates. So it's generally her food changes depending on what day she trains and what she trains. So today she actually has rice, prawns, and she has a rice cake with turned on pudding. I always prepare her food and more importantly make it taste good. She gets majority of the ball work done, and then I always prepare the fun stuff. So I basically just make it taste better, and I am the head chef in the household. That's how it works, and to be honest, it works really well. Yes, she does like the fancy pudding, fortunately, but we do not spend money on anything else. We literally spend money on food, so we can afford to splash out a little bit on nicer food, so to speak.
So pre-workout meal, I think that Kuba was talking about it. No,
Plenty food.
oh, that's nice. So in here, made by Kuba, is the same as every single one of my meals. I just put my meals in a bowl, and then Kuba puts it on the pan because he makes it taste nicer. And when you're in an off season, I think it's hard to eat your own food sometimes, especially when they're big bowls. So this is 100 grams of rice, 185 grams of prawns, 75 grams of vegetables, 100 grams of pineapple, and one rice cake with 10 grams of honey. That's the additional that I don't have when I do my upper body day. But obviously when I do my full day and also my leg days, I have that additional on there just because obviously the sessions are a little bit more taxing. So I'm going to eat that, and then we're going to get ready for the chef. Where am I? Should talk about maybe bulls. Go. I am 14 weeks out from Olympia, which is very exciting. I'm not really that nervous. I think that, not that I'm not nervous, because I'm sure I'll be very nervous probably to get even up on that stage, because there's usually a lot of people in the audience on the pre-judging. It's a very big stage, and obviously it's the Olympia, so I probably will be a little bit nervous, but I don't feel nervous or pressure going into this prep. There's always that internal pressure of wanting to be better than the last time, and I think that that's always that's probably what pushes you more. But in terms of kind of external pressures, there's not really that kind of, I'm a bit weird. So whereas obviously going into the last one, people were probably maybe expecting me to do well, which then gives you a little bit more pressure, and that's just something that's part of the process. But no, I don't feel very pressured or nervous going into this comp prep, because like I say, I know that I'm not going to win, but I do want to bring the best version of me and hold my own on that stage, look good against the other competitors that are there, and hold have a place. That's my real kind of goal for the Olympia. So then we'll just see how we do, and then decide whether we'll do a competition just after that, to maybe try and qualify for the year later. But again, we'll just see how we fare against the other girls booked from America and Europe at that time, because if I'm not beating the people that could potentially do the competitions that I'm going to do, there's not really much point in me doing another 3 weeks in a diet when obviously I've dieted all year. I can go into an off season and get myself feeling lovely jubbly and maybe make some progress, so then there'll be no questions asked about that next time that I get on stage. a nice qualification again. So that's kind of my goal for me. And we'll just see after the Olympia as to what we do. So not making any kind of rash decisions now as to whether I'll be going straight into an off-season or whether I'll be still continuing to diet and maybe trying to get the no qualification that few weeks later as well. But I feel great. Definitely a few weeks after my comp I didn't feel the best. It's definitely the almost slowest that I've come out of a competition prep, building up my body composition, but it was needed. I'm not going into a off-season for some time. I am going into a diet very soon, so it was needed for me to keep my body composition probably more so lower than what I'd usually after a competition. But I'm excited. I think I look good. I think that there's only a certain amount of progress that you can make when you are still pretty much in a deficit the entirety of the year. But I do think that the look will be improved from last year. So that's all that I can ask for. Right, so just finished legs. We're going to do a little video at the end of this snippet to talk about periodizing your year, if obviously you're competing more than once, or even if you're not, just about competition prep in general. We're going to get Kuba on the mic because he is obviously the person that runs the ship when it comes to my bodybuilding journey, so it'll be good to obviously get input from him and his thought process behind kind of my competitive year, because obviously it's been very different with competing, having a break and then competing again, which is very new territory for me. Feels very strange kind of at this point out. I feel like I should be in my diet but obviously if I was to be in my diet all the year and stay super duper duper lean, not that I'm not lean, I would just lose muscle, and the goal isn't to get much bigger, but still need to get a little bit bigger in certain areas, but the goal is not to lose muscle when you're in a competition prep. Anyway, so this is my post-workout, which is slightly higher on a leg day compared to an upper day. It's just 100 grams on an upper day. On a lower body day, it is slightly higher. So we've got 110 grams of cream of rice in here. This is the apple pie cream of rice from Trained by JP. It's one of my favourites at the moment. That and the chocolate orange are pristine. And then we've got white chocolate hazelnut, ISO Pro from Trained by JP Nutrition, and then 150 grams of berries. If you do want to get top of the range products, use my code MEG10 for all of your money off on Trained by JP products and Trained by JP clothing. Oh, it tastes nutty today.
So, periodizing your competitive year to get the most out of your competitive season, but also to be able to bring a much better package to the stage. So you have to map out a timeline. So it all starts with actually having a solid plan in place as to how long you need to actually prep to get in contest condition, and then how long you actually need for an improvement season, and then back into another contest prep if you are competing in the same year. So for Meg, for example, the way we needed to structure things is give her a 22-week prep that I knew would have brought her into the condition that we need based off her body weight and based off her condition that we had as a start point. This time, her start point condition was actually far better than before, and she held a lot more muscle mass. So I roughly had an idea as to what her stage weight would look like, and that actually gave me a reference point and a figure as to how many weeks she would need to actually get in true contest condition. So from outside in, we're looking at 22 weeks. It actually was around 19 to 18 weeks of actual fat loss. Actual 18 weeks of fat loss. So within that 18 weeks, she actually dropped 16 kilos. So when you break that down into stages, if we tried to do a shorter prep, it would mean having to push much harder to get the rate of loss that we need in order for her to get in shape, which would mean not being able to hold the muscle, the roundness, and keep her body as fresh as we needed to keep it in order for her to actually bring the condition that she needed to win. So you need to actually be thoughtful with how you plan your years and your competitive year, because if you do not, and you do things randomly, or you choose to do a shorter prep, if your condition does not warrant this, you will not be able to not only compete and bring your best for that one show, but if you are planning and having a longer competitive season and you are doing multiple shows across the year, the likelihood of you being able to do that is going to be slim, because for the first show, you will have to push so hard to get in shape that your body simply will not respond again thereafter that. Having Meg do the peak weeks back to back and then nailing her post-show the way she did and being able to actually retain the body composition that she did throughout this phase right now is giving us, again, more confidence in knowing that we'll be able to bring a much better package because, again, she has already made a substantial amount of progress with her physique and the weaker areas that we needed to bring up. Now, secondly, post-show can make you or break you. If you really control yourself and control your eating, you will be able to actually bring up your baseline foods pretty quickly, like we have with Meg, to the point where we know she's going to have a much better start point for the second year and the second prep within that 1 year than she did before, because she will actually be able to start with her calories higher than we had previously and her body composition substantially better, meaning that we likely won't need to even push as hard to get in shape and contest condition for her second prep of the year. So the way we map things out, it was a 22-week prep followed by a 12-week off-season where we have been looking at bringing her body weight up by around 8 to 10 kilo. This will give us a great start point for a 13-week contest prep before Olympia, knowing that she only has 10 kilos to lose, and knowing the progress she's already made, we will aim to bring her in with around the same body weight as she has done early in the year, but I would believe with better condition. Knowing that, we have 13 weeks to drop 10 kilos and having a leaner start point with her calories higher than before going into this prep, this definitely fills us with a lot more confidence. Now, this was only doable if one, was able to keep her healthy, and two, was able to actually adhere to the plan and adhere to food post-show, which has been very challenging because your hunger will always be sky high. And I always try and explain it to people in a fashion where no matter how much food you eat, you will feel like the hunger is insatiable. And that is where I am right now and where she probably still is to a degree. And that's unfortunately unavoidable. If you want to be a great bodybuilder, you need to lean into discomfort and you need to accept and embrace that throughout the majority of the year, you are going to experience discomfort, whether you are dieting and you are extremely hungry and tired, or whether you're in depths of off-season and you're actually not hungry, but still lethargic from all the food that you're eating and tired from all the sessions that you're putting yourself through in order to progress. So unfortunately, you want to be a great bodybuilder, you have to embrace discomfort and you have to lean into it. Let's talk a little bit about how I break up comp prep. The 22 weeks that we've had for the first comp prep, out of that 22 weeks, we spent 4 weeks in maintenance or even a small surplus. 4 weeks out of that comp prep will have been 3 diet breaks and 1 peak week. During those weeks, there will be no deficit in place. There will be rest and there will be extra food, making sure that we are managing fatigue and we are bringing her fatigue levels down, giving her body a break from being in a constant deficit. So when you look at prep as a whole, and when people look at the preps that we do, and they might think it's a little bit longer, in fact it's not, because most people just do a shorter prep and just go hell for leather. And that is where people have to push much harder to get the same results because they don't manage fatigue effectively. Key in a contest prep is working extremely hard. If you're not working extremely hard, you will not need to manage fatigue. But if you are working extremely hard, you will need to slot in times where you back off from the training intensity and back off from actual deficit. 22-week prep completed with great success. I would argue she should have won 3 out of 3 shows, but that's just me. I can be biased sometimes, but again, the first show was definitely a major lesson, and not competing for a long time was definitely something that plays a role with that first show, and it's definitely played a role for me this year competing, and it definitely played a role for Meg, where we wasn't able to bring the best that we could because we haven't competed for so long, and it was just a lot of nerves and stress, I think, and stress can definitely skew your ability to actually peak properly. Now, we have almost completed our 12 to 13 week off-season phase, which is a mini off-season, taking a body weight up by 10 kilos within that period, which is max as to what I would expect, knowing that we have to be ready for the Olympia. It's not been an addition of 10 kilo over a week. It's actually a very slow and controlled rate of gain, especially for a female. A female initially needs to gain a little bit more body fat in order for it to feel normal. It's very, very different with men. Men, I believe, can stay actually leaner, feel better. With females, it's a little bit different, and this is where working with a lot of females over years has given me experience to be able to know exactly how you need to push females, especially out of the shows. and how you need to balance that. Now completing this little mini off season, we've got a perfect reference point for how much body fat we need to take off, how much body weight we need to take off in order for her to bring a better package for her Olympia prep. So the way we are going to structure Olympia prep is going to be 6 weeks of fat loss, followed by 1 week deload and diet break, followed by another 6 weeks of fat loss, and then a peak week. So that gives us 12 weeks of direct fat loss with 2 weeks to manage fatigue, peak, and take that back step as well. And within that 12 weeks, we've still got buffer time because that's giving us extra 2 weeks that we don't actually need when it actually comes to fat loss, knowing that we will be able to actually start the prep a little bit more aggressive, take a little bit more body fat off within the first 6 weeks, pretty much getting her within striking distance across the first 6 weeks, taking off around 6 to 7 kilos in body weight. And then knowing that we've got the second part of the prep after her diet and break and deload to really bring it in and bring the condition that we need with a smaller rate of loss. So one thing that I cannot stress enough when it comes to managing your prep and planning your prep, your large bulk of fat loss should be done at the start of your prep when you are fatter and when you are holding much more water and body fat. That is when it's easier to lose body fat. If you don't do that correctly and you try and lose more as you get leaner, that is when you will actually dig into the muscle tissue, because as you get leaner, not only it's harder to lose body fat, but you also need to go steadier and you need to go slower to get into the right condition. That will be a plan of action for this year's Olympia. Now, I know I've done a lot of rambling, so I will let Meg share her thoughts and share how she's feeling. But I want to kind of give you a full breakdown of what my plans have been like and how we periodized her competitive year in order for her to not only be the best in the first part of the year, bring it home and win, but also bring a substantially improved package for the Olympia to reach the goals that were set out between us.
I don't think that we'll share the goals that we've set out because...
No, we'll share them after.
Yeah, I prefer to keep them... We kept them private leading into the shows of the first part of the year.
Yep.
And I think it's nice to be able to keep some things in-house until it's time to share. But I'll make sure that I put everything in there to be able to achieve that.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, when it comes to results, you can't always be in control of that. So obviously it's down to the judges and what they think about my physique as well. I'm feeling good. I felt terrible after my show, but everybody does. I mean, it's not anything new.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I'm only 8 days post show and I know what you're talking about.
I think it's just, it is what it is, isn't it? Post show is never really easy. Obviously, it's usually different because we normally do it together.
Yeah.
And then this time, obviously, we've not. So it's just been strange being in that phase on your own when someone else is like hell for leather in prep. And you've got to be aware of that to try and help and support them. So it's just been different. It's not that it's been more difficult. It's just been different.
Yeah.
But we've definitely kept my condition
It's
much
amazing,
more.
yeah.
I think that
it's been great.
It's probably been a learning process for us that potentially my body composition doesn't need to go too sloppy too quick.
I don't think so. I think it's a process they have to go through because you've got a lot more muscle maturity now.
Yeah.
You've got a lot more muscle mass, and more importantly, both physically and mentally, your body fat set point shifts the longer you do it.
Yeah.
And I think your body fat set point is actually much lower now. And so is mine.
Yeah.
And I think that will always allow us now to stay leaner and be able to actually make more progress.
Yeah.
But the main thing that underpins the ability to do that is controlling the eating.
And I'm not saying that me and Kuba haven't adhered in the past, because I think
there's levels to the game.
Yeah.
There's levels to how well you adhere. And we've always adhered, but I do think there's still been slight little errors that we've made and we could have done better.
Yeah, 100%. I think that if anybody can't put their hand on their heart and say that there's always lessons to be learned from either a comp prep or a off season, I think that they're lying. But I'm excited. I was saying in my video earlier, it's strange because I don't feel nervous and I don't feel pressured because usually it's about you going in to win.
Yeah.
Not that the last few years have been that way because I've not had enough muscle mass. But like this year was that way, and like I did feel quite pressured going into my shows this year. That's probably why I felt a little bit more nervous in my first shows, because I knew I had the possibility to do all right.
Yeah, well, we know that you're at that level now, and it's a different ball game. One thing that I always say is I will always hold my hand up and say I can do things better. And it's always a learning process for me, especially competing myself, having clients compete, prepping Meg and prepping all my clients. I'm constantly evolving and getting better. So the margin for error now is getting smaller and smaller every single time, to the point where I'm extremely confident in not just my ability to prep, but also my ability to prep others and being able to nail things down. This is why I think this year and the last year we've seen so much success with our clients as well. It's just down to that, and it's down to more experience doing things and having an open mind and constantly learning, which is something I pride myself in a lot.
But if you want to make progress, and this goes for the entire of the last 6 years of trying to become a competitive figure pro, adherence is the key.
It hasn't happened overnight.
No.
And again, we've always been to the button with everything that we do, but we just get better at doing so, and that's just a fact. We get more muscle maturity, we adapt better, and we're able to execute better in a fashion where we make more progress, we're able to stay leaner, we're able to actually stay healthier. And hopefully, guys, you can take something away from this and use it for yourself. So guys, that's an overview of Meg's Olympia prep and periodizing your competitive season. So hopefully you can take something away from this. And please subscribe, like, and share. We will do more in-depth videos, and we will do more videos covering obviously Meg's process and what we're doing with her. I think the training, especially now, is definitely ticking the boxes, and we've hit a sweet spot with it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, good. It's very challenging, and I think generally females, just to finish on this point, females can actually handle a little bit more volume than men. And again, that's another thing when it comes to programming what most people miss a trick with. I do think we've been able to really, really evolve together this year and grow, both in bodybuilding, with coaching, in business, and in relationship as well. So it's been a very productive year, and I wouldn't say I'm never the person that will always say I'm happy, because I'm not, and I'll never be satisfied with where I am, and that's a good trait. But I definitely feel like it's been one of the best years we've had across everything that we do. And that's just more maturity on my half. Communication, which has been better, where we actually speak a little bit more frequently and speak a little bit more open-heartedly. So that is the best advice I can give you guys, is if you want to improve as a bodybuilder, have an open mind. If you want to improve in your relationships, speak your mind. Peace out for now.